In just the last couple of years, something fundamental has shifted inside the world's most powerful boardrooms. Artificial intelligence. It went from this niche topic for the tech department to the single most important strategic conversation for the C-suite. So, how are the world's top leaders playing this incredibly high-stakes game? Let's break down their playbooks.
To really get the scale of this moment, just look at this quote from Jamie Dimon. And look, this isn't some tech CEO hyping up a new product. This is the head of one of the world's biggest banks, and he's reaching back through centuries of human history just to find a worthy comparison. It's a statement that's very carefully designed to tell everyone, get ready for a change that could literally reshape entire economies.
And the thing is, this shift happened unbelievably fast. What was once just a line item for the IT department is now the central strategic issue for the entire C-suite. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack the playbooks these leaders are using to navigate what a lot of people are calling the next great technological revolution.
So, when you start to analyze these strategies, a really fascinating split emerges. It turns out there isn't just one way to approach AI. Nope. There are two very, very different games being played, and it all depends on what industry you're in.
Okay, first up, let's look at the creators. We're talking about the big tech companies here, and for them, this is nothing short of an all-out arms race.
For companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, AI isn't just some interesting new tool. It is the entire ballgame. I mean, their future revenues, their market value, their very survival depends on winning this race for technological dominance. It is, no exaggeration, an existential fight.
And boy, are they spending accordingly. To give you a sense of the scale here, just consider this. Microsoft alone has committed a staggering $80 billion to its AI infrastructure for 2025.
And they are definitely not alone. Google is right there with them, planning to spend around $75 billion in that same year. I mean, these numbers are so huge, they almost don't make sense, and they tell you everything you need to know about how intense this competition really is.
This quote from Google's CEO Sundar Pichai, man, it just perfectly captures the mood inside these companies. You can feel the urgency, right? The subtext is crystal clear. Move fast, don't mess up, or you risk becoming irrelevant.
So, the creator playbook, it really boils down to three key strategies. First, spend insane amounts of money to create these huge barriers to entry. Second, operate with that feeling of existential urgency, like your life depends on it. And third, and this is so crucial, build out infrastructure that acts as a competitive moat, a system so expensive and so complex that your rivals just can't copy it.
But hey, that's only one side of the story. Now let's turn to the second group, the adopters. This is basically every other industry, from banking to healthcare, and their approach, well, it couldn't be more different. They're playing a much more pragmatic game.
And what's really cool about this slide is how clearly it lays out the two different worlds of AI strategy. You've got the creators chasing technological supremacy in this existential race, while the adopters are laser-focused on efficiency and managing risk through cautious adoption. For one group, AI is a fortress. For the other, AI is a tool.
Let's take financial services, for example. The banks, they aren't trying to build the next foundational model from scratch. No way. They're using AI for very specific high-value problems, like spotting fraud and managing risk. And they are deeply, deeply concerned with AI as a potential security threat from bad actors.
And we see this same practical approach everywhere you look. In healthcare, it's all about speeding up drug discovery and giving overworked doctors some breathing room, not replacing them. In retail, it's about untangling these incredibly complex global supply chains and delivering personalized marketing at a massive scale. It's all about solving specific business problems right here, right now.
Okay, so all of this, it leads to the one question that, let's be honest, affects every single one of us, no matter what industry we're in. What does this actually mean for people? For the human workforce? Exactly. For the longest time, the whole conversation was filled with this kind of fuzzy language about augmentation. But lately, you're starting to hear CEOs get much more candid about the real-world impact on jobs.
And this slide just brilliantly illustrates the two very different paths leaders are taking. On one side, you've got Amazon's Andy Jassy, who has been pretty direct. AI is going to reduce the workforce, and teams need to get ready to do more with less. But on the other side, you have JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon. He acknowledges that jobs will change, but he is also committed to retraining and redeploying affected staff. So you have one path that's all about pure efficiency, and another that tries to balance that efficiency with an investment in its people.
But
there is a final twist in this story. A massive hidden constraint that has nothing to do with algorithms or data and everything to do with the physical world we live in.
I mean, this prediction from Elon Musk it's pretty startling, right? He believes that the sheer growth of AI computation could actually lead us to run out of electricity. This completely shifts the entire conversation away from software to a much more fundamental nuts and bolts resource.
And that brings us to what's being called the infrastructure imperative. It's this idea that the biggest bottleneck for AI's growth might not be better code, but rather the hard limits of our physical world, capital and energy.
So the two great constraints on AI are pretty simple when you break them down. First, the absolutely immense amount of capital required to build the computers, those tens of billions we saw earlier. And second, the truly sobering demand for electricity needed to power it all, which could strain the world's energy grids to their breaking point.
So this leaves us with a final fascinating paradox. This incredible digital revolution of AI is completely dependent on the very analog world of power plants and transmission lines. And the ultimate question for every CEO, and really for all of us, is a simple one. Can our physical infrastructure actually keep up with our digital ambitions?